Hello friends, as you all know, for this session CBSE has introduced a new scheme of assessment where the session is divided into two terms, term 1 and term 2. In term 1, the question paper pattern will be totally of objective type questions. Generally, four types of objective type questions will come in CBSE examinations. These are case-based questions, MCQ questions, assertion and reasoning type questions, and true-false type questions. So, the objective of this present lesson is to know what is a multiple choice question, to know the structure of a multiple choice question, to know various strategies to create multiple choice questions, and to identify weak MCQ questions and good MCQ questions by going through some examples. As per Bloom's taxonomy, the different cognitive levels are knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. From this table, what we observed that multiple choice type questions test items for all cognitive levels. Now question is, what is a multiple choice type questions? What are the different type of multiple choice type questions? And what are the parameters on which we should focus to frame a good multiple choice questions? A multiple choice questions test items consist of two parts, stem and alternatives. Stem means a problem, or it may be in the form of a question or in an incomplete statement. And alternatives means that contains one correct option, which is called the key, and a number of incorrect options that are called distractors. So mainly we are having two parts of a multiple choice type questions. One is stem and another is alternatives, which contains distractors and key. Now let us consider one example. I am going to elaborate one example where you will have stem and alternatives. The stem is like this. Suppose there are 7 training associates in ZIT Bhubaneswar. 4 of them are to be selected to attend 4 different conferences in its feeder regions. The first person selected will go to a conference in Bhubaneswar region, the second will go to Silchar region, the third to Ranchi region, and the fourth to Guwahati region. How many of such selections are possible? So this is called your stem. Now the alternatives are: number 1 answer 7C4, 4 factorial, 7P4 and 4 to the power 4. Here the correct one is 7P4, that's why this is called key, and the other alternatives are called distractor. Now question is, to write a good MCQ questions, we have to consider few parameters to write both stem and alternatives. While writing stem, we should design in such a manner that after the student read the stem, he should know exactly what the problem is and what he is expected to do to solve it. The question should not be ambiguous, should be written with clarity. Moreover, the student have to know exactly what is being asked. The student should not have to read alternatives to understand the question. The main points we should focus while writing the stem are: identify one point to be tested by that item, include the central idea and most of the phrasing in the stem, avoid irrelevant clues. We'll have some examples afterwards. Next point is eliminate irrelevant information. Restrict the use of negatives in the stem. If you are using it, just underline or capitalize the negative word. This will help students to find out their answers. Now coming to alternatives. Friends, once we have the question, it seems that our task is easier, but it is not. Creating good alternatives also needs hard work. The main points we should focus while writing the alternatives are: restrict your options to 4 or 5. Don't give so much of options to the students. Options should be mutually exclusive. We all know mutually exclusive means two events that cannot happen simultaneously. Next is options should be more homogeneous as possible. We should give homogeneous options to the students. Make sure there is only one correct or best response to the item. Avoid the alternatives, all of the above, none of the above, like this. Incorporate common errors of students in the distractors. Keeps the alternatives similar in length. Friends, let us consider a question. Here, the question makers expect students to choose the answer 8 for this question, but it's not correct, as more squares can be formed by counting the main squares inside which the smaller squares exist. A student, when thinks deeply about this, is not likely to select any answer as the correct answer which is not in the option. So this is a weak examples of MCQ type. The correct question should be like this, which is a good example. The maximum number of squares formed in the given figure is, since we are giving the maximum number, we are asking the maximum number here, the student will count all possibilities and find the answer. So the suggestion for this question is, questions should have conceptual clarity. Now comes to the second one. The question is given to us. Manish writes a 3-digit number. The number has a 3 with a place value of 3, a 5 with a place value of 500 and the digit 7. Which of the following is Manish's number? Here, instead of writing the number has a 3 with the place value of 3, a 5 with a place value of 500 and the digit 7, we should say the number has 3 in the ones place, 5 in the hundreds place and 7 in the tens place. So this is a weak example. The correct question should be like this. Manish writes a 3-digit number. The number has 3 in the ones place, 5 in the hundreds place and 7 in the tens place. Which of the following is Manish's number? So this is a good example. The suggestion for this question is, age appropriate languages should be used in the STEM. So instead of giving this type of languages, we should focus the languages which were generally used in our concepts. Now comes to the next one. In this example, the question is like this. Calculate the indefinite integration of log 3x dx. Then some alternatives are given to you. Here, the STEM follow all the rules that we specified, but when you look to the alternatives, we can see that they are not homogeneous. The student will be inclined to discard the alternatives D. This is not similar to A, B, C. That's why directly a student may discard the alternative D. So this is a weak MCQ type questions. The correct question should be like this. Calculate the indefinite integration of log 3x dx. I am writing here the option 3 just similar to the options A, B, C. So the suggestion for this is alternatives should be homogeneous in nature. Comes to the next one. In a certain line of the Pascal triangle, the sum of the last two numbers is 13. What is the sum of the first three numbers of that line? Options are given 68, 66, 79 and none of the above. For this question, just imagine that the student has done the calculation and none of result was his result. The question that arises in the mind of the student that he or she must repeat the calculation because perhaps there is a little mistake in the calculation, or he or she will go to the option none of the above. So this is a weak example. The correct question should be like this. Instead of writing none of the above, we should give one options there, so that if a student after calculation will not get the answer 68, 66, 79, 55, he or she may directly go to another calculation and will get the correct result. So this is the good example, and here the suggestion is we should avoid the option none of the above. Comes to the next one. Consider the function fx equals to 3x cube minus 3x square plus 4x plus 5, knowing that df dx is 9x square minus 6x plus 4, and we have to find the second derivative of f with respect to x at x equals to 1. Here the options are given 16, 12, 7 and 10. The stem should be brief, including only the necessary information. Here we have to find the double derivative, and we know double derivative we have to find by using the first derivative. So the function given here is not necessary. So this is a weak example. The stem is having some irrelevant information. Fx equals to 3x cube minus 3x square plus 4x plus 5. Given function is not required in this question, since already the first derivative is given to you. Now the question should be like this. Knowing that the first derivative, find the double derivative. This will give a clear clarity to a student. So this is the good example here if you compare these two, and the suggestion here is avoid irrelevant information. So friends, hope you go through all the presentations what we discussed here, and you clear the idea about MCQ type questions. Thank you.